this report is true, let's just assume it. Let's just, for the fun of February, assume the report is true. What would that say about John Lynch, his standing in the organization, his outlook as a professional?
Kind of just dodging the sword or the guillotine. Because if this season had gone anywhere near left or right or anything like that, it would have been him as the fall guy and not Kyle.
Pretty obvious, right?
Kyle would have got blamed, and people would have, I guess, been right to say whatever they want about Kyle. Yeah, right. But John would have been the first one out the door. So is he tired of this whole, like, when everything goes right, Kyle gets the credit. When everything goes wrong, it's in on me. So I think that John Lynch is looking for the right way to walk away if he can. And if he wins a Super Bowl while he's there, also, that's cool. That's fine. But
sunset that way. Yeah,
seems like he's trying to find a way to get up out of here because he can't keep on with the whole. When they win, it's Kyle. When they lose, it's you. And that's just how it is. And I don't really think that's too fair, in my opinion.
I don't know if he knew it was going to be like that when he signed up for it, but that's what it is. And, when he was the number 2 guy at Fox doing, the subprime games, maybe this was a step up. But it seems like, just looking at the other candidates, the fact that Sean McVay would even consider leaving the Rams after winning a Super Bowl at 36 to take this job must mean it's paying way more than your typical head coach.
15 M's, right? I think they said it was 15 million.
Oh, well, that explains. Yeah, I was thinking at least 10. So, okay, 15 million, that's ridiculous. And in a way, it almost seems like these coaches feel that that's the most prestigious position in football. The guy who talks about the big game that week, like Madden. You can get into the Hall of Fame that way, too. That's kind of interesting to me.
Yeah. And I mean,
he's in the Hall of Fame, though.
Right, he is. Yeah. $15 million, and you get to analyze the game, and you don't get picked apart after the game's over. I mean, sounds good to me, too. I mean, McVay at this point doesn't really have much to prove either. He's already won a Super Bowl.
True.
So,
do you know if Lynch's family is up here or are they down in San Diego? Did he move them all up to San Diego? I don't know.
That
would be another reason to. So anyway, it seems like Lynch knows that he's always going to be the fall guy. And now that he's a Hall of Famer, like, why does he have to be in that? Must be stressful. Right. Must be stressful. Because Kyle wasn't tripping before the season started. He was drinking with Joe Staley, doing trick shots in Santa Barbara or wherever, San Diego. I think probably John Lynch was sweating it up until they freaking beat the Rams in week 10 right. And they went on that run.
Picture being John Lynch, right? This is just from the outside looking in, and these are the narratives created because we don't necessarily know what goes into any of this draft process, right? The guys who hit, Adam Peters picked him. The guys that missed, man, John Lynch wanted that guy
every time.
Right, and when the team is playing well, Kyle's got those boys rolling. When they're losing, man, I don't know if Lynch built this roster correctly, even though we know certain things about how much personnel control Kyle has. So picture being John Lynch and always being in that position where you have to, like, dodge the sword, look for the dagger in your back at times. And when it was 3-5, he probably was sweating, right, like in his office because something had to happen, right? Obviously, there was a lot of expectations going into the season, 3-5, coming off that Colt McCoy loss. We all were kind of freaking out a little bit. Now imagine how he feels, especially considering all of those things, because in 2019 it was kind of like found money when they made the Super Bowl, right? Like, yeah, you have thoughts of making the Super Bowl. Don't think that they envision themselves being that dominant, right, in that run. But then 2020 happens, you have the built-in excuse of, COVID, injuries, all that stuff. 2021 is supposed to be run it right back. And then it gets off to that start. And again, John Lynch is the one who probably feels the heat more than Kyle Shanahan does because we know Kyle's not above criticism, but Kyle's not going anywhere either, right, unless something egregious happens.
And what's more prestigious, being like the face guy of the 49ers when everyone knows that's all you are and getting no real credit for what's going on here, or being the voice of the NFL? Which is essentially what Aikman is, what Madden was when he was at Fox. It's and a big raise.
And there's no pressure. There's no pressure. You go to makeup, you go in the booth, and you start talking football. The same that you would do in your house while you're watching the game. And there's no pressure to that.
I know what I would choose. Look, as someone who bullshits for a living about football, it's way better than having to actually pick players and have to, live and die by your decisions. Hell no, that you're never wrong when you're entertaining. Never.
Right. And when you give out opinions about players and they don't pan out, nobody is going to fire you for it. They just call you a bozo on Twitter, which is, they'll just call you a bozo on Twitter, which is so easy to just be like, yeah, whatever, you got me, who cares, you know?
Yeah,
But yeah, there's a lot of pressure that comes with, especially the 49ers, right? Like, we're not talking about like let's just say, I'm not trying to demean any sort of franchise. Let's just say it's the New York Jets, right? There's no sort of winning history. Everything is always going to be a building process, and it's always going to be something where they're just like, hey, please help us move in the right direction. But when you take over the 49ers, it is expected that you have to push this team back to the glory, right? Like the quest for 6, right? Like, so that's a no-win situation right there, because if you don't get it done, they're going to blame you. And then if you do get it done, Kyle and everybody else and all the players are going to get all of the credit. So I think that John's just in a no-win spot. And for now, if he is toying with the idea of going back to media, it's because he's tired of this year in, year out, game to game, week to week, when things go wrong. I mean, look, the light tweet over Christmas Eve. Like, what other GM is going to be dealing with stuff like that, like at that point? Now, we don't know the real way it happened. I know he didn't do that in church. That's a lie. You know what I mean? But it's just strange how all of these things seem to come to him, right? They're at his doorstep. And that's the part that I think he's probably tired of.
Also, what if Lynch isn't particularly optimistic? Or maybe Lance wasn't his guy. Maybe he's like, I don't like the direction this organization is going. I'm out. I don't know, but there's lots of ways. In February, you can go crazy.
You can surmise things. You can surmise that, right? Like, he just wants to get out before something bad happens.
Maybe. James says Tony Romo makes 180 over 10 years. Is that true? Say that.
Oh man, I don't know. 18 M's.
If Trey wasn't ready, he wouldn't even have dressed this season, knowing Jimmy Garoppolo can get hurt at any moment. Trask couldn't beat out Gabbert and didn't dress. He's not ready. This Trey talk is nonsense.
Romo, it does get 10 for 180.
Oh,
wow.
Wow. That's
we're in the wrong business.
My goodness. Yeah, good move, Tony.
So Trey wasn't ready. He would have dressed this season knowing Jimmy did get hurt. Trask couldn't beat out Gabbert, and he didn't dress. He's not ready. This trade talk.
Good point. Man. If he wasn't ready, he wouldn't have been in a position to play at all.
Right, like Jordan Love was inactive every single game in year one. Right?
That's not ready.
Right.
To me,
that's not ready at all.
Everyone's like, well, Trey Lance, what he did against the Houston Texans, who cares? It's Houston. Look at what every other quarterback did against Houston. And then look where Trey matches in his second career start. I'm not saying it means he's going to be a great quarterback, but.
You know what's funny? The one thing that the Texans did well was defend the pass.
Yep.
It wasn't defend the run. Nope. Like they should have been able to run all day, but Trey threw the ball in that game. It's funny. Everybody's picking and choosing their narrative and pick and choosing whatever it is to perpetuate their narrative as opposed to just being down the middle. So it is what it is.
Jacob Mayhew says, just want to remind y'all that Grant still has a better beard than Jimmy. Glad to see Jason back on. I tried to show.
Shout out to you, Jacob.
Jason has a great beard. You either have to do it like that, or I feel you got to go with the stubble like me. Jimmy tries to I don't know. I don't like the way he does it. I wouldn't.
The 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah, I do the 5 o'clock shadow, but you can't manicure you can't it has to look kind of natural. Like you didn't try to do it.
Like you're not doing anything. You just a bedhead out of it. Like I don't care.
That's the way it's supposed to look, even though you definitely did manicure yourself. Like, I'm not going to talk about it. Jacob, are you okay? You said you were in the hospital earlier today. Are you all right?
Oh no.
Let me know. Blink once if you're good. Carlos, if Jimmy G stays with SF as a starter,
fire Lynch and Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, well, I don't think that's going to happen real quick. You think it's going to happen?
No,
thanks.
No.
James says, do people respect a winning GM more than a broadcaster?
It depends on whether you want to be respected like that. Some people don't care about that. Let me get my bag and go home. I could care less whether you respect what I did as a GM if I'm getting paid a bunch of M's to just have a carefree job and go home to my family.
He's a Hall of Famer. He's got respect.
Yeah, I mean, it's again for you. It's about what you want to be respected as. If you care about things like that, like if John Lynch wants to do this, and this is like he wrote this down as a life goal, like I want to win a Super Bowl as a GM, then that's fine. But if he's just taking the job and he kind of fluidly got there, and now there's a chance to move away to a low pressure job for how much more money? Give me the money, give me my peace of mind, and let me go home to my family, man. That's how I feel.